Good morning, Malacañang Press Corps. Welcome sa Mindanao Hour, Bangon Marawi with Presidential Spokesperson Ernesto Abella.
Good morning. We'll now pass over the mic for...
Thank you very much, sir. Good morning, Malacañang Press Corps. Good morning, everyone. For our update for today, the 10th of September, we are on, I think, the 116th day, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just check that. No, 112th day of the fighting in Marawi. And we have the following information for you as our updates. Number of enemies killed, 655. Civilians rescued remain the same at 1,728. And so with the number of civilians that have been killed because of terrorist atrocities, they remain at 45. Recovered firearms increased to 685. Buildings cleared recently, 18, or 23 if I should say, and then the other day we cleared about 18. For members of the armed forces or our forces who have been killed in action, they remain at 145. For the donations that have come from the private sector, particularly for Marawi casualties, they remain at 38,124,573.23. For the Marawi IDPs, they remain at less than a million at 989,515.21. And this data was as of last Friday before the close of banking hours. We will get our next update at the end of the day today for the status of these funds. For updates regarding the implementation of martial law before I proceed to the operations in Marawi, current operations in the islands of Sulu, Basilan, and Tawi-Tawi are ongoing and they have not stopped. Particular focus that are the subject of our troops' attention at the moment is the continuing rescue operations for the remaining kidnapped victims held by the kidnap for ransom group Abu Sayyaf in the area, particularly in Jolo and Tawi-Tawi. Also, recently, a local, the son of a Zamboanga del Norte mayor, if I'm not mistaken, was abducted. And we believe they are within the same area of Western Mindanao Command, and an operation to effect the rescue of this individual has also been done. For Marawi operations, we would like to express the appreciation of the armed forces to the members of the MILF who have continuously been very strong about their commitment to end the operations of Daesh-inspired groups within and around their areas of operation, particularly in the South Cotabato, Maguindanao area. The BIFF in particular has been the forces here supportive of the Daesh and is the subject of these operations. Their commitment, in the words of the chairman, Mr. Iqbal, has been to work relentlessly to finish the ISIS or the Daesh-inspired group in their area that have been polluting the minds of their fellow Muslims and bringing them out of the wrong path or showing them the wrong path of the Islamic faith. So they remain committed to this, and you are all aware that they have issued a fatwa and their forces are deployed to effect all of this commitment to the armed forces and to the Republic. For Marawi operations, our operations remain relentless. They are continuing. And by the number of buildings that I have reported a while ago, we are expediting and speeding up our pace of clearing the buildings surrounding these areas where the enemy continues to remain holed up. Forgive us because we're not at the liberty yet to discuss particulars of the operation, but we can assure you that the commitment of our ground commanders and our troops is at an all-time high, and they would like to finish this fight at the soonest possible. The most significant, although for our reporting today or this morning, is that the bridge in the area of Bangolo has been completely secured and is now open for traffic for our troops, troop resupply, and the entry and exit of all our forces who are connected or engaged in the main battle area. There only remains one more particular area of concern, or one bridge that will have to be operated on. And this is the subject of our operations in the next few days. So that is all for now, and I would like to turn the floor to Secretary Abelle for the other announcements for today.
For Task Force Bangon Marawi updates, on the continued interventions in business and livelihood, IDPs were provided with short courses on baking, processed food production, and dressmaking. Around 775 slots were offered in various skills training completed last week. IDPs who intended to continue with their businesses were given raw materials and were provided with the opportunity to showcase their products in the Kahimunan Trade Fair in Cagayan de Oro and the Go Negocio Center in Iligan through the provincial government of Lanao del Norte. Most of the products displayed were malongs produced from the 5,000 worth of starting kits provided by DTI for the IDPs. The TFBM Subcommittee on Business and Livelihood is working on the establishment of a little padyan sa Iligan at Tiangue where the IDPs could sell their products, and negotiation is ongoing for the leasing of a lot where the Tiangue will be located. On 9/11 anniversary. Today, September 11, marks the 16th anniversary of the 9/11 terrorist attacks in New York City. The fight against global terrorism continues where nations have chosen to stand united against a common enemy, espousing bigotry, fanaticism, and anarchy. In the Philippines, the fight against a Daesh-inspired rebellion in the Islamic city of Marawi is in its last miles. To stop the spread of terrorist ideology, we're working as one nation, pouring resources in infrastructure development in Mindanao while pursuing peace talks with the Moro rebels and pushing for the creation of a Bangsamoro region within the sovereignty of the Republic. Let us continue to remain united in our concerted effort to defeat terrorism. Also, a bit more good news. More Filipinos allocate OFW remittances for investment. The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, in its Consumer Expectations Survey, third quarter 2017, reported that overseas Filipino workers, OFW households, who are utilizing the remittances for investments increased to 8.5% for this third quarter, almost doubling last quarter's 4.4%. This means more OFWs are allotting their money for investments. Also, on the planned abolition of the PCGG, legislative action is needed to proceed with the planned merger between the Presidential Commission on Good Government PCGG and the Office of the Solicitor General. On Hurricane Irma, we're closely monitoring the condition of our kababayans that may be affected by Hurricane Irma. The Philippine Embassy in Washington, D.C. has already advised that close to 200,000 members of the Filipino community in Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina to comply with the evacuation orders issued by authorities. Filipinos in North Carolina and Virginia have also been advised to take the necessary precautionary measures after both states were placed under a state of emergency. We assure our kababayans that our embassy and consular staff will be on standby in case of any need. On the taxi driver involved in the Arnaiz case, we look forward to Mr. Tomas Bagcal's cooperation with authorities as he willingly expressed during his press conference. The National Bureau of Investigation is now conducting a parallel probe in the Carl Angelo Arnaiz case, and Mr. Bagcal is vital in its speedy resolution. He is the one identified by the Caloocan Police as the victim of the alleged robbery committed by the slain teenager. We expect the truth of the matter to be clarified and those responsible made accountable before the law. An announcement on the DAR's officer in charge, Department of Agrarian Reform. The Palace announces the designation of Undersecretary Rosalina L. Bistoyong as officer in charge of the Department of Agrarian Reform per instruction of the government. The order took effect on September 8, the day the Executive Secretary signed the memorandum. OIC Bistoyong's designation will ensure the continuous delivery of public service. We're open to a few questions.
MPC questions first on Marawi. Bangon Marawi. Question? Joseph? Oh, sige.
Sir, spokes in general, may minention po kayo na last miles. As dun sa statement niyo sa 9/11, you mentioned in passing that our fight is in the last mile. So what do we exactly mean by that?
Well, as has been previously announced, we're entering the last and final stages of our fight in Marawi. That is being mentioned because the remaining areas where the rebels are holed up are getting smaller and smaller by the day. And as we clear more buildings, we deny them the opportunity to retake additional facilities or installations where they can hide. So they're actually concentrated on only a few. Ang last report na nanggaling po sa ground commander natin ay humigit kumulang hindi na aabot ng 400 yung buildings na kailangang i-clear. So ngayon, sa number of buildings na na-clear natin ng mga nakarang araw, siguro mga more or less mga 300 some plus na lang ito, no? 320 kung susumahin natin lahat ng mga na-clear. And we're being very careful that pagka-clear ng isang building, hindi na ito mababalikan dahil tatauhan na at babantayan na ng ating mga hold-on forces. So, itong lugar na kanilang pag-iikutan, humigit kumulang 1/4 of a kilometer grid square or less ang siyang lugar na lamang na kanilang pinagtataguan. And unfortunately for us, and fortunately for them, in that small area remains among the strongest buildings, yung mga malalaki at makakapal na building. So yun ang nagiging challenge natin ngayon. So the fight has been in close quarter combat or close quarter battle. Malapitan na. Our clearing is going from room to room in every building. The challenges we continue to face remain the same because of the continued existence of booby traps that are being laid around. And this is the challenge that we are facing and addressing.
So are there any negotiations for the hostages ongoing now?
No, there is no negotiation whatsoever. Whatever news came out regarding the confirmation of the President regarding Solitario's participation were done previously, itong mga nakaraang linggo. But now, to date, we have closed this door because we don't negotiate with terrorists.
Kailan, sir, yung pinakahuling attempt to negotiate?
I am not exactly sure when that date is, but there was an attempt by Mr. Solitario to act as a go-between. But the condition they were asking for is to let go of the rebels. So many lives have already been lost. They have been responsible for so much damage. Pagbibigyan niyo pa bang makatakas yan? Di parang cancer yan na pinabayaan lang natin na magpatuloy. So hindi po natin pinayagan yan. At nagkaroon ng usapan po na mariing pinagbawal ng ating Pangulo na may makatakas pa na isa dyan sa ating mga kinakaharap.
Thank you, sir.
MPC questions? TV5?
Patricia Manguni po from TV5. General, sabi po ni Secretary Lorenzana last week sa Senate, by the end of September, matatapos na po yung Marawi siege. Can you verify this also, sir?
The continuing million peso question about when this is going to end. We have deliberately not been saying exactly when because we ourselves cannot set it. Dahil as the days continue, new challenges will come up, but we're doing our best to expedite it. That's why from 96,000 thousand barangays, if I'm not mistaken, or 96 barangays previously, we were down to about 5 to 6 about more than a month ago. Tapos ngayon, we're down to about 1.5 barangay na lang na natitira. So we are doing our best to confine them to a certain locality and certain area where we can make the final push.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Lanesca? Microphone.
Sir, about MILF and in relation to the Bangsamoro Basic Law, have you found, for spokesperson Abelia, have you found an author for the proposed law in the House po? May author na?
As of this date, I'm not aware. As of this hour, but I can find out by this afternoon. Okay.
Sir, is the palace having a hard time looking for someone to sponsor the bill?
It should be with the legislative.
Sir, still about the Bangsamoro law, would you think it is more practical to pursue this first before charter change? Since the president has been pushing for charter change to improve the lives of the people, especially in Mindanao, where he is from.
It is a priority. The BBL is a priority. It's a very, very high priority. It's not a question of which is which, you know. But it definitely has a very high priority.
So, which will come first?
That
BBL or charter
That I
change?
cannot assure you. It all depends on the events as they unfold.
Okay, questions? Other issue? Joseph Morong or Inandulo?
To spokesperson Abelia, sir,
ma'am.
is there any update from the president on the supposed bank records that he plans to release relating to supposed accounts of Senator Trillanes?
Regarding the bank records, as of now, no. We don't have any updates.
When Senator Trillanes came out with the alleged bank records of the president criticized him for failing to back up his claims. How does the president intend to be different in that way? Can we expect him to come out maybe with verified bank records?
From how I understand and know the president, he would come out with something very substantial. Exactly what I cannot say, but I know he speaks he knows whereof he speaks.
So he won't pull Senator Trillanes, for example, who up to this day have not been able to produce any verified bank records.
I'm sure he has a higher ground.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Questions, MPC? Lanesca?
Sir, good morning again. About Tomas Bagcal, the taxi driver.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, and the president saying that there are certain groups trying to sabotage his drug war. Is the president clearing the police over the killings with that statement?
He's not clearing the police by any means along. He's not in any way saying that directly, but he is certainly bringing in a new element regarding the drug war. Like for example, in his words, these sabotaje, you know. In other words, there is another element regarding the matter.
So, sir, he is still committed to prosecute erring policemen.
Of course. He has not, like you said, this is not a license to commit crime. The campaign against the drug wars is not a license to commit crime.
Okay, questions, MPC? No more? Okay. Joseph?
Ms. P.
Good morning, sir. Sir, ano ang mensahe ng palasyo on the 100th birthday of former President Marcos?
I think he has already made an implicit statement by, by allowing for the holiday. in that place.
Okay. Joseph?
Just an addendum, just as additional, there are protest rallies against the celebration of the birthday. Any comment on it?
I would say again that the President and the Palace exercises maximum tolerance for dissident opinions.
Okay.
Sir, yun pong sa House Bill, sa PCGG.
Yes.
Ano ba yun? House Bill 5233, it has the effect of abolishing the PCGG, no?
Conflating, I think, both into, compressing it into the office.
Absorbing the PCGG into OSG. Of
Yes.
course, the Palace wants this.
Come again?
The Palace wants this, as this is in line with what the President has been toying with as an idea to abolish the PCGG.
I think it would be more in terms of the right sizing.
Right sizing na siya. How do you think this will benefit the Marcoses, if at all?
At this stage, I cannot say if it will benefit them or not.
Okay.
Sir?
Yes.
Pakipass yung microphone. Yeah.
Sir, Lay Baguio from Brigada News FM.
Yes.
Kunin ko lang po yung Palace reaction sa issue po ni Mr. Bagkal at yung parang tila agawan po ng simbahan at ng DOJ kung sino po yung dapat magkustudiya sa witness.
Wala po tayong komentaryo patungkol dyan. We know, at this stage, we don't have any formal statement regarding that matter.
Okay. Ace Romero.
Yusek, what did the President mean when he said that he's going to destroy Senator Antonio Trillanes?
You know, the President is a very, what do you call it? Is a very firm and forceful speaker. And simply means to say that he wants to put a stop to these apparently wanton comments. And in other words, he wants to make sure. He wants to make sure that things do not become sheer reckless accusations. Simple as that.
So what is there to destroy if that's the case?
The accusations.
The accusations,
Yeah.
not the person.
Of course not.
Because he issued a similar threat before against Senator De Lima, and we know where Senator De Lima is right now.
But the person is not destroyed. You know.
I don't know. But, okay, does that mean that we are expecting the President to relay information that could lead to the filing of charges against?
Well, simply that whatever it is, that he will want a stop to this apparently wanton accusations that are being recklessly cast around.
But do we expect him to relay information that could lead to prosecution or filing of cases, just like what happened to Senator De Lima?
He may come up with substantial evidence that will effectively put a stop to these things.
Thank you, Yusek.
Okay. Last question. Danesca, to be followed by Joseph. Last question.
Sir, last on my part po. Sir, morning. About Speaker Alvarez proposing a 1,000 peso budget for the Commission on Human Rights, is the Palace supportive of this initiative by the Speaker, considering the President's earlier statements against the CHR po, and even its abolition?
We'll have to refer that to the office of the OES, and we can find what the President's formal position is.
Okay.
Sir, doon na lang kay ano. You said last week, no, that malignant elements are out to sabotage the drug war of the President. Who will these malignant elements be?
They'll have to be investigated.
But of course, you may have an idea. This is not just a.
In other words, these are not benign forces. You know.
I think I get what the malignant term is.
Okay.
But does this have any basis in fact or?
Well, the President himself has said that it's being sabotaged. It cannot just be a figment of his imagination. I'm sure there are certain personalities out there who are actively engaged in, who apparently are actively engaged in discrediting the president's campaign.
Yeah, in that same statement, sir, you said that the palace said that any killings of teens should be viewed with suspicion, no?
Not just any. For one, I said any death, a single death, is regrettable already.
Correct.
But especially these deaths of teenagers should be seen with a second eye. I mean, what's happening there? What really is happening in there?
Given, sir, the testimony of Mr. Bagkal saying that, number one, that the affidavits are forged, the scenario that the police was trying to build up seems staged, how do you think does that affect your statement that there are certain elements sabotaging the anti-drug war?
Look, this is better subjected. It's better subjected to the proper investigation. But at this stage, we cannot speculate about whether there are saboteurs or non-saboteurs regarding especially affecting the deaths of young people. But it should be subjected to proper investigation. However, the president himself has introduced that idea, that insight, that it seems that at this stage, there are probably those who are involved in making sure that his campaign is actually discredited.
In this particular case with Carl, it doesn't seem to be coming from the outside. It is from the government. I mean, if it's the police forging testimonies of the driver.
In which case, like I said, it should be subjected to proper and rigorous investigation just to determine what really is the actual thing happening there.
Should the NBI take hold of the witnesses?
I think there's a parallel investigation.
Should the NBI, sir, take hold of the witnesses? Because there have been attempts by the VACC and the NBI.
I cannot speculate on that. I cannot give you an answer on that.
Okay, thank you, Joseph. Last question na. Lanesca, you have question?
Sir, yung sa CHR po, kasi the executive proposed 651 million for next year, for 2018. So, magbabago yung proposal ng executive considering Speaker Alvarez wants it reduced to 1,000 pesos?
We'll just have to leave it to the speaker to make a decision on that.
Sir, you can't be categorical if you're supportive of the 1,000 peso for the CHR.
Well, that's his position. That's what he wants. So.
No stopping him.
Not that I know of.
Okay, thank you. MPC, wala na question? Okay, thank you, Presidential Spokesperson.
I'll just add
Okay, sir.
an additional request from Joint Task Force Bangon Marawi. We're happy to inform you that the arrival of heavy equipment to be used by Task Force Bangon Marawi for its initial groundwork for the recovery, rehabilitation, and reconstruction of Marawi from the armed forces sides. Engineering units are already there, and we will be hauling a little bit more equipment to help and work with the local public works department to effect all of this needed movement on the ground or improvement of the ground. We already started doing the relocation area. Halos tapos na po yan, yung pagtatayo na lang ng bahay. Pero yung sa pag-clear, pag natapos na po ang bakbakan sa loob ng Marawi, yun po ang pagtutuunan ng pansin. Kaya kung napansin nyo, yung mga ibang dumating doon ng mga ibang heavy equipment, medyo parang armorized. May harang yung mga tabi-tabi. Baka sa pag-clear, mayroon pa mga hindi pumuputok na mga bomba. Pagka binabulldozer, maaaring sumabog ito. Kaya dapat protektahan yung mga engineers natin. Ganon din po yung patuloy na pagdating ng mga relief goods na hinohaul ng ating Philippine Navy through BRP Davao del Sur. So they're all there, and this will continue. And we'll continue to provide the much-needed assistance of our evacuees who are in need of our help. The last item is on the aspect of the CPP-NPA. We call on the public to please be vigilant and to work with our forces on the ground, because in 2 instances in the past few days, there were again a series of burning of heavy equipment which is very much anti-people and anti-development. The people who are supposed to benefit from the infrastructure projects that are being put up by these companies will now be delayed. So they will not benefit from it until it is finished. Kaya ang nangyayari, imbis na mabilis yung mga pagtatapos ng mga proyekto na ginagawa ng gobyerno sa build projects nito sa Mindanao, mga farm-to-market roads, etc., bumabagal lalo at hindi nakikinabang ang taong bayan. Kaya ang aming po pakiusap, magi po tayong mapagmasid sa kapaligiran at makipag-ugnayan po tayo sa pulis at sa kasundalo para mabantayan natin yung pagsalakay ng mga patuloy na nagiging bandidong mga grupong ito dahil sa kanilang pangingikil. Maraming salamat po.
Okay, thank you, AFP Spokesperson Brigadier General Restituto Padilla. Thank you, Presidential Spokesperson Ernesto Abella. Thank you, Malacañang Press Corps. Back to our main studio sa Radyo Pilipinas and PTV.